What is the similarity between this and this? They are both in the international style and designed by the same person. Many of the buildings you see today evolved from this style. To look back at how everything has started, we first need to look at drumroll Louis Sullivan, who is often thought of the father of American skyscrapers. He focuses on how to balance the traditional stone ornaments on a building with extremely large glass panes, which was invented not so long ago. Note that we are in the 1890s, although he didn't design the first skyscraper, he designed many early examples, such as the Wainwright Building, built in 1891, and the Sullivan Center in 1899. Both of these buildings are decorated with cursive ornaments that resembles nature. One of his most famous quotes is "Form follows function", first coined in an essay called "The Tall Office Building Artistically Considered", aka How to Decorate Skyscrapers. One of his students is called Frank Lloyd Wright, who greatly built on the Paris school architecture style, which focuses on blending in with nature. One of the most iconic characteristic is sloped roof that goes in every direction and are relatively low. The most famous example is the Robbie House, built in 1909. This style was popular among some people in the early 20th century, but quickly went out of fashion. Note that everything we see up here, architects are still holding onto the traditional sense of decoration, but it's about to change as we enter the 1920s. The 1920s is the time most school books tell you modern architecture actually began, and it can be both true and false, judging on what we mean by modern architecture. But it's also around this time people truly begin to drop all decorations. We still have Frank Lloyd Wright, who dropped the Paris school architecture style and moved on to modernism. But he kept his love for nature, as you can see in this building, Falling Water, 1936, in which he used nearby stone as a building material. The Bauhaus, a German school of arts and crafts, the school makes use of mass production in many aspects of its teaching, in which you can clearly see in a school building. Le Corbusier, whose structure consists of reinforced concrete, he is most famous for his five-point principles of modern architecture, which he combined into one building, the Villa Savoye, as shown here. Mies van der Rohe, who strips down every building to its barest bones before covering up with glass and creating a sleek and minimalistic look. Although not accepted by most people, modern architecture is prospering. But then World War II happened. Bang! The Bauhaus is gone. Bang! Entire cities are destroyed. And who wants architecture where you gotta spend all your money on bombs and bullets? What does it mean for modern architecture? Post-war, the world is pretty much in ruins, with millions homeless, and people are in desperate need of housing. So the government built some large concrete towers called housing projects. And the largest and most famous and one of the oldest one is called Pret Egoy. It's absolutely massive as compared to near surrounding buildings and even the vehicle is noted here. It's an early example of post-war modernism, where truly all decorations are stripped and and only the bare concrete towers are left. Sadly, it's demolished in the 1970s. Sad to see a masterpiece gone, but the demolition footage is kinda satisfying. It's designed by by a Japanese architect called Minoru Yamasaki, who also designed the World Trade Center in New York. Meanwhile, the elites and the capitalists are also being addicted to modern architecture. They built large glass towers, with the first example being the Liver House and the Seagram Building, and those designs lived. People still build things extremely similar to the built-to-buildings shown in the pictures those days. Like, guess which one is built recently? Time's up. is the right one. As we are almost 80 years from World War II now, we got a ton of off branches. Brutalism, aka modernism, but all you use is concrete, made for being cost effective. Postmodernism, aka modernism, but it's weird. It's almost like it's created as a joke, used to mock modernism while not being traditional at the same time, with the first example being Mother's House. Speaking of postmodernism, RIP to Thailand's robot building. And then there's high-tech, aka modernism but it's futuristic. This style was popular in the 1980s to the early 2000s, using lots of steel and glass to present a futuristic feeling, such as the Pompidou Center. And there's organic. This so-called style has existed since the time of Frank Lloyd Wright, and in my opinion this isn't really a style but more like a broad ideology on how you should build, not a set of principles to direct you to a specific outlook. And this list can go on forever, but the point is that modernism isn't really staying the same forever. But to now, traditional modernism is still the most popular, and I guess I'm lucky because I don't like some of the off branches. Now, modern architecture have often been described as boring and careless, but no matter which time period you are in, making a good building takes effort and always takes time and effort. Yet it's always so fascinating to look back at how things evolved. Thank you! If you have any questions, don't forget to say it in the comment section below and do the same if you think I got anything wrong. And if you think I did a good job explaining modern architecture, don't forget to like and subscribe.